Marguerite with Between Two Shampoo Bowls. And today, with the episode, I'm introducing you all to Kelsey Higginbotham with Wella. She's a brand educator, and we're going to be discussing the newest launch with Wella called Shinefinity. And you'll hear all about it, obviously, in the interview, but I wanted to come on here and just really give my true testimonial to the product itself. I had my hair colored that morning, so I had my hair bleached, and the result of that toning service was absolutely amazing. After 3 shampoos since I got my hair done, my hair is still soft, it's still manageable, and that shine is still there, which never happens with blonding services for me because I just feel like at this point I'm pretty much over processed. So a true testimonial to that, Kelsey will give you the example of basically being like a Band-Aid, and that 100% could not be more true. So just wanted to put my true spin and true testimonial on that, and I hope you guys really enjoy the episode. Thanks so much for joining, and if there's anything that you want to see in the future, please don't hesitate to reach out. I love feedback. So thank you all so much and enjoy this episode. Excited to have you on the show. As I mentioned, we're going to be discussing Shinefinity, which is the new launch with Wella, and we just could not be more excited. I mean, like I was telling you before the show, before we started, I actually just got my hair done and used the Shinefinity, and I just cannot believe the results of just the shine, the smoothness afterwards. I mean, having a highlighted service, like my hair's never felt like this before.
No, I know mine. I was telling you, I typically, because I figure if I do my hair at home, which disclaimer, just because you know how to do it or I know how to do it, does not mean I should, because I end up damaging my hair because I can't see. But this has been like the Band-Aid. This has healed it so much already. And it's been out, 2 months? So yeah, and I'm obsessed with the pink shade that I have on, which is the 09/65. I just think it seems to be universally flattering on everybody. But yeah, the biggest part to me is combing it through when it's on the hair. That is like the test period. It goes through so smoothly. I was dumbfounded the first time I did that on a client.
Yeah, and it's Shinefinity pink. Your hair is almost like, so.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Oh, yes, I color coordinated.
I love it. Speaking of which, cheers to you, because you know, and I tried to get a little bit of Shinefinity pink in there. Mine's not totally the true, color of it, but I tried to get close. So cheers.
I ran out of rosé, so we're on Chardonnay.
Well, that's good. So Kelsey, let's just discuss like you and your career path as a stylist, but then also educator, and the Wella brand as a whole. I mean, why Wella?
Well, it's a hard answer, and it sounds silly, but it spoke to me in the most cliche way of saying it maybe. When I originally went to hair school, and the very first salon I worked in was not a Wella salon. And I was actually compartmentalized. All I did was cut hair. I was actually petrified of color. So when I switched there and went to a salon that was a Wella salon, I just remember, one, it was a brand new salon. So I was one of the very first people hired. And if anyone's ever worked in a new salon, you don't have 7 stylists on at one time. You have 1 or 2 waiting for those clients to come through the door. So I happened to be by myself. And this client came in with obviously a very complicated color. And I just remember standing in the back, staring at that wall and like, oh my gosh. So from that moment on, I was like, if I'm doing this, I am doing this 110%. So I went through the master color expert. I've done as much as I can. And aside from the amazing education, it's the people.
Are you still in the salon then on a week-to-week basis, or do you do education 100% now?
As of right now, I am still in the salon. I actually work typically Wednesday through Saturday in the salon behind the chair, slaving away like the rest of the stylists out in the world. And then I am available to Wella Sunday through Tuesday. So there are those weeks that are 7-day weeks. I have found myself, I think with a lot of people, the quarantine gave us time to stop and think. And then just personally recently, I had a surgery that gave me time to lay still and think. And for me, the passion is the education. So I'm doing everything I can to work toward that 100% devotion to education. So fingers crossed I make that happen. So absolutely.
Take us in a day of the life, in your life. I mean, what's it look like?
It's a lot. Anyone who knows me knows that I have a very hard time saying no. And I have discovered about myself, I am either on and going 150%, or I am off and in my pajamas negative 150%. I don't have that middle ground. And one of my friends just recently lectured me because I take on 7 to 10 clients a day, whether it be cuts, colors, the combo. So I've gotten lectured that is way too much, which I agree. When it starts to feel like work, that's when I don't want to be doing that any longer. So I've been trying to slow my pace, but yeah, I mean, I'm in it. I am in a space it's a very small space. It's a little newer to me, actually. I moved down there, I want to say back in September. I had done a big salon. I had done a salon loft all by my lonesome. And now this is like that happy medium where we each have a lot of our own space, but there's a lot of common ground. And I've developed a friendship big time with one of the guys there who, funny enough, once he found out I was an educator, is constantly now picking my brain, which I adore. So yeah, I mean, I'm no assistant. It's just me. I'm going in, I'm in the trenches with all of you all. I make my masterpieces, I make my mistakes, and you just got to keep going. So my advice though is if you can slow it and enjoy the ride a little more than I do.
Yes. Well, and too, I feel like, with COVID, that gave everyone a really good opportunity to kind of look within and say, do I want this extra time with those clients? Do I want to go back to the double booking aspect of just, just being kind of like that talking head and just doing and not necessarily processing anything or reflecting on, what that passion is. So, it's to each their own, I think, and you find yourself in that groove. And I love when you said, if I am not having fun anymore, then it's work and I have to reel it in and like try to, reevaluate and
yeah, because this is actually my second life. Before I did hair school, I worked in publishing. So I was in the corporate world. I was writing and editing for very, very non-creative types of magazines. And it's funny, I always wanted to do hair. That's what I had always wanted to do. And I'm sure there are many people like me out there who heard, you have to go to college. For me, it was, don't waste your intelligence, go to college. Well, college taught me how to play beer pong and skip class, basically. I was the worst student ever.
Those are really good aspects. Like you have to know those to make it in life,
Exactly. What else? I mean, yeah, I was just such a horrible student. And then I did not enjoy the cubicle life, the day to day. And I finally made the decision. I was 30 when I got my license, that this is what I wanted. So I had to, I gave up the 401k and the benefits and the stability, and I haven't looked back.
That's so great. Yeah. I mean, that passion always finds you,
It catches up. Exactly.
So if there are stylists out there that have been kind of on the fence about, being a brand educator or whatever, what's your advice for them?
To me, I always live by the words that learning never ends. And I just think when I educate, I'm such a better stylist because I have to be. I have to be on my game. I have to be doing everything as precisely and as by the rules as I've been given. So yeah, if you're on the fence, what's it going to hurt? Worst case scenario, you get a little extra education yourself. Okay. And it's just such a great networking. I mean, I've been privileged enough to work with some big names in the industry because Wella gives that to us. Wella puts their global artists and pairs them with lowly little brand educators like myself. And it's just such a great experience. And if you've got even like that little voice in the back of your head suggesting it, give it a try. Start, even if you want to start doing little Instagram lives and get a feel for it. It's wonderful. And it's just like an added aspect to this industry, which to me is never ending. There's so many different arenas you can go into within this world, and that's just another segment of it. And honestly, if anyone is on the fence and maybe isn't somebody who is confident to go out and do it themselves, if they have any questions, I'm an open book. I'm always available to reach out through social media or whatever it is, and I can give you that pep talk or whatever it is that they're looking for. I love that, pushing people to outside of their boxes to do what's going to ignite that passion, like you were saying.
So on that note, can you share your handles with us in the audience?
Absolutely. Yeah. I am Instagram. It's hair by Higginbotham, which I know, but if you type in hair by HIGG, I typically pop up. And I feel like that is where I focus.
Fastest growing segment in our industry today is the semi-permanent color. How would you explain why that is the fastest growing category going on right now?
I think it's the fact that more of us are embracing our natural hair, our natural beauty. Don't get me wrong, I love creating off the wall stuff as well, but for the day to day, I've always approached this as, I don't want to change somebody. I just want to enhance what's already beautiful about them. And again, not to bring up COVID, but that when we were in quarantine and nobody could get to their stylists and their roots grew in or their natural texture grew in, I feel like we got a glimpse of what that natural beauty is. And the demi-permanent sector of this world is ideal for that, because we're not covering and camouflaging things. We're not putting this opaque layer over top of what's beautiful. We're just enhancing it. We're allowing it to shimmer and shine through a little bit. So I think that's one reason it's such a huge growing field. And then honestly, I think men have helped that too. The men's grooming has been huge. I feel like that started skyrocketing probably in like 2018, 2019. So again, men don't want that old school shoe polished black hair. They want to maybe just disguise it a little bit. I've always said, I feel like in the salon world in general, women crave change, men can crave consistency. Permanent hair color doesn't mean it lasts permanently. Mm-hmm. It means it's permanently changed the structure of the hair. So when you hear that it's demi-permanent, it doesn't mean you're getting less longevity. You're just not permanently changing that hair structure. So it's easier to change it up and do different tonal values. So I think that's part of it too, is although we're embracing natural, by doing that, we want to enhance and maybe change, give a little pop of pink or something along those lines.
This opportunity with Shinefinity really allows the for salon companies and for stylists to really shake up their service menu. Can you take us into a little bit of that detail with Shinefinity?
Absolutely. And I can actually post, I will take a really good picture of this and post it on my social media. It is giving us exactly what we can offer. So there is a variety of different things that we can do, from a 5-minute glaze up into a 20-minute more impactful, dramatic change glaze. And I think that's important because, I mean, I'm guilty of it. A 15-minute toner translated into hairdresser speak is usually maybe 7 minutes if we're lucky. because we are the most impatient group of people that I know. We just want to go. We got to go. So this allows us to continue that quick pace, but still get a beautiful finish. So we have a speed glaze, which is 10 minutes. All of these are really, I think of it as almost for like the glazes that are the 5 to 10 minute one that we're not really trying to change. We're trying to accentuate. To me, that's like the lip gloss. So I did recently an Instagram live class on Wella Ed's page for talking about color layering and how you get what you get out of it. And I think toning is always a big buzzword in my classes. And a toner is not a magical solution. It's a step. So that to me is your lipstick. And then this Shinefinity is your lip gloss. It's giving that final shine, that final tonal value. And again, by being able to do that in 5 minutes is huge. I think what that offers too with these different services is we are still living in, and I don't think we're getting out of the lived in bohemian balayage vibe of hair. I don't think it's going anywhere. And I know that scares a lot of stylists from what I hear in classes, because that 6 to 8 week client is now a 10 to 12 week client, 12 to 14 week client. But by having this in our toolbox, by having this Shinefinity now, that I can text the client, say, oh my gosh, I got this great new thing in. You've always talked about rose gold. This is the perfect opportunity. You've got that blonde already. Let's go ahead and make it rose gold for a few weeks for you. So you can do these in-between services just to keep them fresh. It's great for your reds too, because no matter what brand you're using, reds tend to fade quicker than the rest of our shade portfolio. There are some amazing vibrant reds within the Shinefinity family that we can now refresh in between, so that we don't get that fading, that we get that pow out of that red that we really like. I think another really, really good thing with this is color correction, which we are definitely will be seeing for the rest of our lives. And those of us who take it on, thank God we're seeing it. Let's be honest. It's a good thing. And to me, it's like being a hair detective. You've got to break it down and figure out what we can fix. And this is amazing for that. You don't have to fill the hair if you want to go 3 levels darker. You can just do it now. If you've got somebody who maybe has a little bit too much red in their hair, we have some that have a tint of green that will neutralize that very quickly. So it's great for that. And then I think my absolute favorite thing I have done with it is color melting. It's taking that darker root, and that's what this lovely lady is here, taking this darker root and then melting it into a lighter vibe. And before, the biggest fear with that was, am I going to shift the person's base? Am I going to expose that warmth that nobody wants to see? You are not going to any longer. It's a zero lift. You can, it's foolproof, honestly, in a lot of ways. You put it on, comb it through, put that second color on, and you're melted and you're done. You can walk away and know with confidence you're going to get the color you want. You're not going to get a warmer version of it.
Like competitive wise, I know that we're in different markets. I'm in Southern
Sure.
Indiana, you're in Ohio, but what does that price point look for each of those services? I mean, what would your suggestion be?
That's always a hard one. That's always such a sensitive, I guess, for lack of better verbiage, topic. I don't ever really want to talk specific numbers, but what I will say is look at what you're paying for it. But more than that, honestly, look at the time you took to educate yourself on it and look at the time it takes you to perform these services. I have priced mine right alongside with what I typically was doing for a toner or a glaze. And I'm not changing. If I'm using it for color correction, I'm sticking with my color correction rate. If I'm doing a color melt, I'm sticking with what I typically, a root charge and a toner. I've upped my prices recently because I have taken more education, because I've trained myself more, and because I have so many more new opportunities with Shinefinity. So I've added a couple of dollars here, but just really, I've seen a lot, and I put something controversial on Facebook the other day, probably is, I'm seeing so many people post, oh, my foils are now this much versus that much. I have to raise my prices, deal with it. Well, okay, fair enough. Clients are going to be very taken aback by that. Nobody likes to talk money. And I personally think the more you educate yourself, that's when your worth should go up. When you have really taken the time to improve your craft, that's when you should be confident in saying, I just took a 3-day cutting class with Stephen Moody. Guess what? My cutting skills are better now. Not because my foils are $10 more. The world has gone up. And I just think as an industry, I think we need to maybe be a little quieter about that and just take it as a business move and raise the prices if it's time, keep them the same if it's time, and it's very personal to each person. But again, as far as pricing for services go, I'm placing them very similarly to a toner. Now it's a Shinefinity toner, very similar. And I'm thinking about the time I'm taking to do these services.
Great advice. And spot on with that. I mean, go out and get yourself some education, or, Cosmoprof, beauty.com, I mean, offers a wealth of education.
Absolutely.
Complementary to that, but it's the time that you guys are putting in to obtaining that education. So time is money. Like a lot of stylists that haven't taken that price increase in a long, long time, but are worth that, then now is the
I'm guilty
opportunity
of it.
to do it. Like,
yeah, I'm guilty of it. And that's my little soapbox, and I don't ever want to offend anyone, but I just think it's the price of doing business. Things are always fluctuating price wise. Just do it quietly and don't keep it secret from your clients necessarily. Have that discussion, have that signage, whatever works for you. But I don't think we need to be whining and negative about it, because negativity breeds negativity. And like you were saying with Cosmoprof, they offer so much as far as education. Wella is really great with that too. And again, back to COVID, who knew we could take classes on Instagram? Who knew we could do Zoom classes? And those Instagram television segments are always there. I've gone back and referenced them. You can always go and watch them, anything from upstyling to coloring to cutting, and take that time. Like you said, time is money. Take that time and invest it in yourself. Then you can invest it back into your clients and your business.
I think they're even available on the Wella app too, aren't they? Like they're archived.
Yeah,
on
there's
there?
always, oh my gosh, I reference the Wella app daily.
Yeah.
My brain can only hold so much, and it is everything you need to know about Wella color. And then absolutely there are educational videos on there as well. So it's a great resource.
Definitely. Can't even imagine how many times I've said this to a stylist. Have you checked the app yet? Oh, I didn't know they had an app. Yeah, there's an app.
I know.
For that.
Yep. There's an app for everything.
everything.
Come on, guys. Yes, and I do. As an educator, I reference it too. And it's there for you, period. Utilize it.
Pull and brush, and then also the bottle technique that Wella has always like surpassing the technology. I love that Wella is like so nerdy, as you know, as a hair color line, like it's amazing. I love that the fact that they've introduced both of these techniques so that people that are used to one, still have that opportunity to utilize. They don't have to conform. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I agree. It's not restricting. It's not, you must do it this way. No, it again leaves the door open for that, that creativity side of it. So yeah, both activators, which I'm going to kind of shift out of the way, both activators are exactly the same strength. Again, you don't really need to worry about how powerful they are because they're not doing anything to shift the color, but just know that they are both equal. They're pretty much the exact same thing in each bottle. The thing you're going to notice as a stylist is that consistency, is the viscosity. The bowl and brush is a little thicker, gives you a little bit more control and precision. The bottle is just kind of rapid fire. And especially if you're doing it on damp hair, that flash glaze I talked about, that 5-minute option, you can bottle spray that on at the bowl, let it sit, done deal. Total maybe 7 to 10 minutes for that upcharge in that service, for that upgrade to that client. So yeah, just like I said, just know they're exactly the same as far as we need to know about what's it doing to the hair. They're just different in that viscosity and in that thickness of it. So for the color melting that I said I love, it's great because I apply the precision that I want, so I know how far off the root I'm going with that bowl and brush activator. And then for those mid shafts and ends, I can whip it on with the bottle activator, and it just makes life so much easier.
The capabilities of what Shinefinity overall, zero lift and so forth, but customizable formulations.
Yep.
I mean, can you give us a couple of examples of that?
Yeah. So there are 32 different shades within it. All of them you can mix and match. And then within that, there are also 2 boosters. So there's a 0-stroke 6-6 and a 0-stroke 8-9, which the reason I'm pausing is that 0 in front has been throwing me. And for those of us who are nerdy and want to know why it's a 0-8-stroke 8 instead of just 8-stroke 8, that 0 truly just means it's more translucent. So that's the way to think about that. It's not affecting the level. It's not affecting the tonal value. It's just that you're getting a little bit more of a shiny, translucent finish. So I love the idea of warm and cool together. So I may do a cool root and a warm mid shaft and ends. But having those boosters, sorry, there are 3 of them. There's also a clear. There's a 0-stroke 0-0. Mm-hmm. And that's just going to help pastelize things. That's just going to help soften. If you know the hair is porous, but you want it cool, maybe that 0-9-stroke 8-1, you're afraid it might get too blue. You can add that 0 in, and it's just going to soften it and not make it quite as aggressive on that porous hair. But I mean, obviously there are all the shades you can mix and match. It's just, and what I also like, I don't know if anyone has noticed this, but it's definitely deliberate. We have named our shades this time. So instead of 0-9-stroke 0-2, that's a soft sage. So that gives us something to talk to clients about in client stylist speak versus stylist to stylist speak. They're going to relate to things they know: beige sand, deep walnut, that type of thing. And there's just so much flexibility with them. So those are the boosters. So you've got the clear, the one that's going to be a little bit more blue, and then it doesn't show up quite as violet on my lighting as it is, but it's very purple. And you can use those as standalone if you wanted to do more of a fashion shade or a creative color.
Longevity solutions, I mean, 78% longer lasting. How does that speak to the competition out there? I mean, obviously with the research and the technology that Shinefinity has brought to the table, I mean, this is so new compared to competition out there that's just so dated.
Yes.
So 78%.
I think somebody said this recently, and it's very true. Wella isn't always the first to the finish line, but they're the best at that finish line. They're not putting something on the market that's halfway done. They're going to take that time and make sure that technology is exactly where they want it, that it's going to keep the integrity of that hair, that it's going to give that client the longevity you were talking about. And that's going to speak to clients because they want a return on their investment. And I think we can say this is going to last a little longer than our competition out there. This is really going to make your hair feel like silk compared to some of the competition out there. And they say it's a shine you can feel. And I thought that was silly until 100%. I used it.
100%.
Yeah. So, and I just personally, the health of the hair is number one, always has been for me. And I really think that Wella's number one also is the health of the hair. without healthy hair, you're not going to get the color you want or the longevity. So I think that, and then the fact that it is a cream color versus a liquid color, I think stands out against some of the competition out there as well. And again, I think you see cream and you think conditioning, and it gives you a little more precision and a little bit more control if you are doing a root melt or anything like that.
Solution for between color services, but then also color balancing and also gray blending, which is a perfect opportunity for those men clients. But back to your point, I mean, those in-between clients, like you said, or those in-between services where we're going to have to get creative and get the clients back in, but also for the clients seeing that longevity too. I mean, they're going to say, wow, I am getting a bang for my buck, you know, when it does come to, you know, Sally raising her prices or whatever. Now I can see where that is coming from, because she had to get educated on this. She's gotten, you know, more of an addition to her toolkit, you know, of what she's got in it. And it's totally worth the money. I mean, again, like everyone says, I mean, our clients are our walking billboards in between services. And if their hair feels and looks amazing in between those services, then we've done our job. So,
And I think putting in the most amount of face time as you can with your client also is huge. So yeah, if they're, and I have some of those clients that I see a couple of times a year, nothing wrong with that. But if you can get in front of them more, again, that trust builds. And I just think it allows us not to be in the, here comes Mrs. Smith, she's a 5-stroke 0, blah, 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 got it ready to go. We should never do that, because over time, everyone's hair changes, from surgeries to age to hormones to vitamins to water, whatever it is. So if we're having more face time, we're not stale and they feel appreciated. And when we offer a new service, a new type of color to them, a new cutting technique, a new styling technique, whatever it is, they feel like we've been thinking about them. And they, again, that trust is irreplaceable, and that just continues to build it. The more face time you have, the more time you have to discover their hair and their lifestyle.
Yes. And you all, like all the stylists out there, you know your clients, you know who those people are, who you can really like formulate something new on. Or, you know, if that person is like the same, you know, same stroke, same shade every single time, but don't pre-mix or anything. I mean, our hair textures do change. And you know, when thinning starts to happen, I mean, I had twins 18 months ago, and I feel like I'm still going through that postpartum like hair fallout. So it's just like, oh yeah, a lot of things have changed. So let's have that conversation and let's go over that, because I did have to just recently change my part. And, you know, if I wouldn't have had that opportunity with my stylist, like to have that initial, you know, consultation, then I couldn't have said like, I'm really thinning over here. Like, can we change things up and go this direction? So.
Right. And it can be as simple as that. Like you said, changing your part. I have a couple people going through that too, whether it's postpartum or unfortunately post-COVID. There's a hair loss thing going on. I've also had somebody who I didn't have a thorough consultation with. This was a couple of years ago. And I went in with my 12-stroke 6-1, like I always did. And her hair was peach. And I freaked out, obviously, in my mind. But then I had the consultation and I found out she had changed the type of vitamins she was taking. And I really think that's what it was. So having that, and I also want to say, don't ever feel silly. And I think this is more for newer stylists. Don't ever feel silly or maybe that you're bothering your clients. We all do it. I think we wake up from a dream of a new freaking formula for Joe Schmo, and don't ever feel silly or hesitant to, oh my gosh, I had this thought for your hair. I have something new I want to try. Again, that trust and that relationship is built on those types of things because you're thinking about them. Zero damage, zero lift. There's no alcohols. Like you said, there's no ammonias, all kinds of it's a very clean formula. It's like pH smart too, where it's keeping the pH balance of that hair where it should be naturally. So we're not opening and closing and going up and down that scale, which, nerd alert, but I think that's the most intriguing thing about this color is this isn't scientifically precise, obviously, but in a sense, it basically is starting alkaline. And then it's like a shapeshifter. It knows when it hits the hair and then it's becoming acidic, which is what's very healthy for the hair. So I think that's incredible that the R&D and their chemists and all that have figured out a way to make it that, like you said, that oxidative color and give it that alkaline quality that gets the long lasting of that color, but then it's also acidic, which keeps the health of the hair and gives us that zero damage.
Well, so hair is more manageable and workable during the application to show its gentle formulation, but can you describe how that compares to, the competition out there?
It just, from start to finish, it's that shine you can feel. It's that health you can feel. So I was blown away. The very first client that I did a color melt on her, and I did it on completely dry hair. So there was really no prep work to it. She came in, we did her color. And when I got that on for my color melts, and honestly, for any of my retouch colors, I like to take a wide tooth comb and comb through it. That way I'm not getting a lineup like this. I'm getting more of a blend. And it's never hard, and I don't ever feel like I'm damaging the hair when I'm doing that. But this was like butter. It was just like, it went through like silk. So from application to finish, you're feeling that difference. And I really do think that is a point of difference that's putting us ahead of the competition, setting us apart. You can run your hands through it when you're shampooing without feeling you've got to glob the conditioner on. It's just really loving that hair from start to finish. Yeah, you're sold. Like we were saying, feeling is believing, seeing is believing. And whether you're with a competitor brand or you're with Wella, give it a shot. I mean, they even have little babies for us, little baby activators. So if you don't want to go all in, there's like a test run that you can just give it a chance. I know change is scary. And I will say, on that awesome Wella app, if you are converting from a competitor, there are a couple of the bigger names, the ones who have maybe a cult following, in my opinion. There's conversion charts to help that change be easier for you.
I saw that. It's so helpful. I mean, when those things are available, and I understand like sometimes proprietary issues and whatnot, you can't disclose those things, but that to me like is definitely quite helpful for stylists that are making that transition. And on that note, to your point exactly, like reach out to your Cosmoprof rep, ask them for samples, because with this episode launching, we are definitely going to put more of those samples into our reps' hands to get that out to you. And if anyone wants to try anything, all they have to do is ask. I think it's a winner. I couldn't agree more. And let's be honest, most of us are guinea pigs on ourselves, self included. Try it for yourself. Even if it's the clear, what's it going to hurt? Just like you said, to feel the difference, to see that shine, that difference. Absolutely.
Well, and I love that Cosmoprof is so good about giving people the samples to try, because sometimes, I mean, do I want to invest in this or not? And having that sample from you guys is phenomenal.
And even at this point in time, we've got, the kits that are $30 each. If you just wanted to try like Kelsey was explaining, like the shimmer glaze, or, a couple of the things that you can really offer and enhance your service menu, those are out there and available. So $30, it's not, it's not going to break the bank, but at least it gives you the opportunity to try.
Yeah. And when we were talking about price points, the way my menu is it's kind of a la carte. So this just, again, gives you a chance, whether maybe you're not raising your prices. That's a hard thing. I am very guilty of not always doing it either. But you can add a service, and that will also then help you as a business owner. And a 5-minute add-on can be a $25 or whatever your price point is add-on also. Why not?
Yep. Kelsey, thank you so much for being with
Yes.
us on the
Oh my
first
God, thank you for
episode. Yeah.
dream
Yeah.
come true. I want to be a podcaster when I grow up. Yeah. So, and like I said, I will post, when this is aired, I will post my little one pager that does give you all of those options. So hair by Higginbotham. And again, if you type in hair by HIGG, I'm usually there. I usually pop up. But this is also on that app that Marguerite and I have talked about.
The app's amazing. Get the app. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Yes.
I will come back anytime you want me.
Yay. All right. Perfect. Well, thanks so much and have an amazing day. We'll talk
You
soon.
too.